My name's RoseJoanne, and I'm going to share with you tonight a wonderful recipe for making garlic walnut pesto. I want to make you something tonight that you can share easily. And the reason you can share it easily is because it's got a shelf life longer than a Twinkie. This stuff lasts about 7 years if you ask my cousin, because he still has some in his fridge. This is something that I found in my travels to Liguria, which is where this is a specialty. But when I came home, I found that it wasn't anywhere here on the shelves, so I decided to make it. I haven't shared this recipe with anybody in 30 years, and I'm doing it tonight. And here's what you do. It's very, very simple. You take 3 cups of walnuts, which you see here. Now, if you like slow and sensuous cooking, which I do, you can do it with a mortar and pestle. However, this could take 2 months. If you like to do it very quickly, we'll put it, and some of you have to think about that, including me. We'll put them in the food processor. And I've measured everything out and labeled it so I can remember how much is in each of these things to tell you. But you're going to take a ½ cup of olive oil. You may need to add more. This is one of those recipes where every nut seems different every time it's different. This is 1 whole bulb of fresh garlic, which you see here before you. One of the wonderful things about garlic is not only do some of us think it smells great, but it's very inexpensive, especially since we live near the garlic capital of the world. So the braids are wonderful because you get 16 of them, and again, you can share them. That's another lovely thing to do, is to buy the produce and share it with friends and see what they come up with, and then share the recipe. I love doing that too. We're going to put in a tablespoon of salt. Again, this is to taste. You can start very light and then just keep increasing, which is often what I do as well. We've got 3 tablespoons of thyme, 3 tablespoons of sage, 2 of basil, unless you like basil more. I tend to like sage more in this, so sometimes I'll add a little sage. We've got 2 tablespoons of oregano. If you've got the homegrown stuff, it's really, really great to use that. And these are all dried. You can do this fresh, but I've tried it both ways, and the dry gives the nut a smoky taste that is wonderful. I also am going to put in some black pepper. This is optional. I just happen to like it. And this is about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. That's it. That's the secret to this big sauce that everybody loves. But what's wonderful about a sauce like this, not only does it have at least a year shelf life in your refrigerator, and of course you can freeze it, but is that you can use it for so many things. And I'll show you some of the things I made with it tonight. But amazingly, and this is hard to believe, but this is good both as savory and as sweet, so that you can use this. You put a couple of tablespoons of this in a marinara sauce, and you got magic happening, and people think you're just the greatest cook. You could even buy, God forbid, my mother should know this, but you could even buy the marinara sauce, and you add a couple tablespoons of something like this, and it just puts it way over the top. As far as sweets, when I shared this with a Greek friend of mine, she tried it on toast, whole wheat, with honey, something I don't think I would have tried, and it's fabulous. So that's one of the beautiful things about the sharing food, is that it grows it. It grows it in terms of your being able to say that I love you to someone, and it also grows it in ways that you learn new recipes, you get new stuff. So I highly recommend that not only you steal this recipe from me, but that you share it with as many people as you can. Now, if I could put this on, this is the reason I use a mortar and pestle. It isn't just to honor my grandmother. It's also because those things are hard to do. Here we go. I think, Okay, now we're going to grind this, and I'll show you the consistency you want. I'm not going to grind the whole thing. Okay, let's, God, why is this hard? Okay, before we leave this wonderful production, now you saw how long that took. I mean, other than measuring this out. And I wanted to tell you, those people who really are in a hurry, either, you know, young moms or whatever, you're on your way out, and you don't have time to do all the measuring and stuff, there is actually a product that is all of those herbs in one, which is an Italian seasoning. 10 tablespoons of this and you're good to go. I've actually done that when I've been in a hurry before. It works wonderfully. I wouldn't recommend getting the garlic already peeled and in a jar. Some chefs just say that's absolutely can never do. I wouldn't be that heavy-handed, but it really doesn't taste the same. So when you can, and we have, it's so plentiful here, use the fresh garlic for this. This is a good consistency, a little bit drier. This is what you're looking for. Now I would add a little bit of olive oil to this one because it's still a bit mealy. This one, as you can see, is softer, and this is the consistency you want. This is wonderful for spreading. Some of the ways we're going to use this that are easy is that you can just spread this on cheese. It's fabulous on brie. It's also great on goat cheese. So that's, if you just want a really easy and knock them over kind of hors d'oeuvre. You don't have to work that hard. And you can make this, as I said, years in advance in anticipation of that great date. You don't even have to get messed up that day. This is great stuff. So you can use it on cheese, which I highly recommend, and I'm going to do also tonight. Another thing about garlic, besides this wonderful walnut sauce, is that it is so cross-cultural. People really love it. So it's almost always safe when you're going to serve this in any of its many formats. Tonight's dinner, we're going to start out with some goat cheese and some brie. I'm going to have some walnut sauce on that. The marinara sauce that you see over here has been augmented with just 2 tablespoons, about 2 tablespoons for a quart of marinara is perfect. If you put that over goat cheese ravioli, you got a life. It is fabulous. It's also very, very good on the eggplant, and just to illustrate, the little whole wheat to remind you that this is a terrific dessert or breakfast roll with some of this, and some honey. My family's really been inspirational in my cooking. Certainly my mother, but also all of the people in it, the nephews, the nieces, my daughter, my grandchildren, who love and appreciate what I make, who tell me how much it means to them that I cook for them, and then sharing the recipes with them. They're truly interested, as I was in my mother's. In fact, I did have an opportunity many times to go to Sicily and to take recipes from people from that island, and it gave me a connectedness to my parents' village that I never would have had, because it was the only way I could show them that I was interested in them and that something that they did was valuable to me. So I really appreciate that I took the time to do that, and I'm taking the time now to pass these things on to my grandchildren and certainly to my daughter. It really has enriched my life tremendously, and I want to really suggest to people, and films have been done about this certainly, but that you take the time to do that. It's hugely bonding with our families. It's worth doing just that little bit to tell someone that you love them, and I've loved doing this for you, and good night.